What is going on, guys? JordyBoegs here. Today we're going to be seeing if we can get this beautiful 1970 Z28 Camaro to keep up in some open class lobbies. So let's jump right into the current setup. This thing has a 5.7 liter V8 pushing out a healthy 368 horsepower and a juicy 389 foot-pounds of torque. Only downside to all that engine is the weight. This thing comes in at a staggering 4,000 pounds. Although we do have that 4,000 pounds balanced out perfectly with a 50-50 weight distribution, this thing is still a boat. So with all that being said, Forza rates this beauty with a 3.1 speed, a 3.2 for handling, a 2.8 for acceleration, and a 3.0 for braking. So let's jump right into our first open class lobby and see what we can do. Okay, I know I just said I was going to jump into the first race, but most of you guys click off halfway through the video and I had to show you guys this cutscene. Why is the pit crew dead? Who the f killed the pit crew? Why are they dead? Look at them. Why? What is... So anyways, we are here in race 1. We are at the Nürburgring, the sprint circuit, as this is C-Class. We are in that beautiful 1970 Chevrolet Camaro Z28. We get a good start off the line here as we chirp the tires into second gear with all of that torque from this V8. We opt for the middle line as we dive into turn 1. We're going to really be focusing on the brakes here as this thing is a boat. A little bit of a lockup by us. Clean turn 1. I was shocked. We had a clean turn 1. So coming into turn 2, a little bit of trail braking, or at least trying to trail brake through there. Trying to get the front end to bite down just a little bit more. Go for a little bit of a look on the inside of this Mitsubishi, but he covers it off pretty well. A little bit of a love tap from the Integra behind as we make our way through the midfield, and another little bit of a tap from the Integra behind again, but he's not moving us because we weigh 4,000 pounds and it is all American muscle. So we're going to take a look on the inside of this Mitsubishi again, and he's going to try and cover us off on the outside, but we're going to hold our line, force him to take this corner shallow. As we head into turn 7 here, the Mitsubishi going to brake very early coming into turn 7. I don't know if he was trying to do a crossover on us, but we end up exiting the corner pretty well and get a good run down the straight here. As we go through turn 8, we're going to take a lot of curb. I don't know why, just for fun, I guess. And I was very nervous coming into the chicane. This thing is very heavy, so I didn't know where my braking point was going to be. The line does suggest, but I use that as a reference more than anything. Call me a little bit of a cheater, but I like using the racing line. I use that as my braking reference rather than like something on the side of the track or a marker on the track. But the Pontiac in front of us has a weird exit coming out of the final corner, so he gets a terrible run onto the front straight. So we're going to tuck in behind him for a little bit and then swing on the inside, and we're going to try and force him into a mistake coming into turn 1. So I'm going to go early on the brakes and try and secure a crossover on him. But I actually don't even have to because we pressured him a little bit and he brakes way too late into turn 1. So we get the move done for 6th position. So focusing ahead here, we've now caught up to the Porsche ahead. We are heading into the final lap on the front straight here. We tuck in behind him, get a good draft, and we take the inside line here as we are going to try and be as late as possible on the brakes, but a little bit of a lockup by us as we swing wide, trying to get a good run out of turn 1. But him in that Porsche just has the superior handling, and as we're moving into turn 2, I do a little bit of a checkup on the brakes as I don't want to make contact with them, and it unsettles the car, sending us a little bit wide. So turn 3 again, he takes the wide line, so I know he's going to get a good run out of here as I take the shallow line. I not only have to worry about the Porsche in front, but I do have that yellow Integra from earlier in the video behind me right now. Although he does have an 8/10 penalty, still kind of worried because I don't want him to get in front and ruin my battle with 5th. Although 5th does pick up a 2nd and 2/10 penalty now, so as long as I stay within that threshold, I should secure the position for 5th. As we are coming into turn 7 here, I know I'm going to have a little bit top end speed on this Porsche because of how well it handles through all of his corners. It's normally give or take in C-Class. You either have a very good, well-rounded handling car or you have a top speed car. This Camaro falls in the middle, I will say. It is good at both. It is a very averaged out, flat-lined car. As the Integra goes around the outside and dives in very deep on the brakes, I was actually shocked that he was able to pull that off. So coming into the final corner, all I can really hope for is that these two crash into each other and I can just drive right by. which they look like the Integra goes for a dive, and he doesn't secure it because the Porsche goes way wide, and I will tuck in underneath both of them, and it is a absolute drag race down the front stretch here with this Integra, straight out of Fast and Furious, as we are coming down to the line, and we secure 5th place. So overall, a pretty decent race with this car. Ended up starting in 11th, finishing in 5th, so not too bad. Although our best lap time was a little bit worse than other people around us, I think what got us into 5th place this race was just our consistency and how predictable this car was for most of the race. Like I said, it is a very well-rounded car. The only thing that I would have to say is just the weight. It is a little bit heavy, and you definitely feel that coming into corners, especially under severe braking. So let's jump into race 2 and see what we can do there. All right, so here we are, race 2. We are at Grand Oak Raceway. We did not qualify yet again for this race. This lobby is a little bit on the small side, as we are in 9th place out of 13 players. So get a good dive up on the inside of that Mini, as we use a lot of that horsepower off the line here into turn 1. I did know that this was going to be a struggle using this car on this track, just because of these high-speed corners. I knew that this thing, carrying all of the extra weight that it has, was not going to be an ideal candidate for this track. But for content purposes, we are using this beautiful 1970 Camaro still, as we are trying to just hang in with this main pack here. As you can see in here, the car understeering out of the corner as that BMW in front of us goes a little bit wide. We're going to tuck in behind the goat here and see what we can do coming in to this sharp left-hander. Could have taken this a little bit wider and gotten a better run, but it is what it is, as the Porsche gets absolutely pit maneuvered by the BMW. I was a little nervous pulling up next to him after seeing that. I don't know what happened there, but it is what it is, I guess. So coming back down into this tight right-hander, someone else goes right off the track, and a little bit of contact with the Miata in front of us here as we head into one of the final corners of lap 1. We are going to get a little bit of a touch from the BMW, and that is going to unsettle the car as we exit one of the final corners. Just trying to get a good run. I was hoping that my car would be a little bit faster on the straights than it actually was. Again, like, this car doesn't excel at one thing. You know, it's just a well-rounded car. And I say that as I fly by these two in front of me, but these guys were pretty slow in the straights. As you can see, he's very quick in the corners. Going to leave him some space there, as I'm really just trying to hang in there this race and finish with a couple positions gained. And just trying to learn this car and feel it out. This is only my second race with it, so a little bit of a dive by Nightmare there, and he does get into our left rear quarter panel, unsettling our car, making us lose out on a lot of momentum to 4th place, as he is your typical Miata driver, diving in 2 corners, as I've once been called out for myself. So we come into this tight left-hand corner. I'm trying to outbrake 4th place in front of us, but I just can't do it, as he is just better through the corners, as I'm just going to try and hold my line here, and we're going to try and push this Miata a little bit off to the left, as the top end speed of the Camaro really showing, and the Miata again going in for a mean dive out of nowhere and smacking into us. So we're going to try and catch up to them as we do a little bit of a tap on the brakes and go a little bit wide as this Camaro starts to understeer. And the Miata in front of us forgets to turn left in the left-hand corner, eats up all that grass, and ends up eating the wall. So we don't have to worry about him, as we have the BMW looking for a look on the inside, but we are going to pull away on this front straight here, as the Camaro does have a little bit more top end than most of the field behind us. So I'm going to try and carry that speed through turn 1. But again, fighting that understeer, as you can hear the tires squealing quite a bit. I keep taking this corner shallow, and whenever I do, I always run wide, and I ruin my entire run, as the Volkswagen in front of us, I don't even know how that happens. I don't know how you end up that wide. A little bit of a poke by the Porsche behind, but it doesn't really move us because we are 4,000 pounds. And he's probably, what, like 1,500 pounds, 1,600 pounds? I don't know what those things weigh, but I know they're super light. So coming into the left-hander here, we are going to brake pretty late, but the Volkswagen is going to brake later and send himself extremely wide as he collects some of the sand, but us braking late makes us lose a lot of momentum on exit. So we give up about 2 positions on the exit there. As we come into the right-hander, I lock up the brakes, and rather than ramming the Porsche in front of me, I slam the brakes, lock up the fronts, and straighten the car out to save the Porsche from the 4,000-pound boat. So following that mistake, we end up settling in here, and we end up actually finishing this race in 7th place. So overall, not too bad. Gained 2 positions that race. And yeah, so if you guys enjoyed this video and you liked the specs rundown at the beginning of the video, please comment and let me know. Like the video, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.